Franklin Raines, really bad dude. Franklin Raines, you might remember him from the Clinton administration. So we have some ties to Clinton now. Clinton administration, he ran the Office of Management for the Budget. He's now running Fannie Mae for 5 years. In that 5-year period, Franklin Raines, your tax dollars, makes $90 million. In a 5-year period, $90 million. His take. He's also the guy, you might remember the stories, he inflated the earnings of Fannie so he could get those bonuses. Well, it went to court and everything else, and he had to pay. How much did he have to pay back? None of which I think he actually paid back. But they sure slapped him on the hands. Well, while he's at Fannie Mae, somebody comes to his attention that has technology, a patent. It hasn't received its patent yet, but it's going to, gosh darn it. As soon as the Democrats are elected, in fact, this technology receives its patent the day after, in 2006, the very next day that Congress was taken over by the Democrats. So you need the law. The green movement can't stand on its own 2 feet. And the only time anything green ever happens around the green movement is when money comes out. It's all about the money. Even some of the top scientists who believe in global warming say, this isn't going to do anything to stop companies from polluting. Let me digress. It's a scam. So why is it being pushed? Redistribution of wealth to enrich the corrupt. That brings me back to cover, doesn't it? To enrich the corrupt. To enrich the corrupt. We did some digging. We followed the money. The answers tell a familiar story. Crime Inc. But before we get going on this, I just want to warn you. If there's something I'm learning about progressives, the one thing they do, they love creating groups. They've got tons and tons of groups. It's like names, too. You know, they always just keep changing the names on things. They pass money from one group to the next group, and then they change names. It's almost like money laundering. You know, this is Crime Incorporated. That is what our government is turning into. Crime Inc. So, when he's discredited, what do all discredited progressives do? They go to one of the big, progressive groups. Did he go to Center for American Progress? No, that was Van Jones, and almost everybody else has been discredited. No. Franklin went to a board of trustees for a group called the Enterprise Community Partners. Alicia Glenn of Goldman Sachs is also there. Now, here's their mission statement for Enterprise. To see that all people have an opportunity for fit and affordable housing. Well, that sounds great. Doesn't it? I mean, I don't know anything about Enterprise other than, they've partnered with Acorn. Okay, I know that. And they have a guy on their board of trustees that doesn't understand the root of the word trustee. But I'll give the Enterprise Community Partners the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure they're legitimate. I'm willing to say that Enterprises have nothing to do with that. So the disgrace Franklin Raines is sitting around in the back of Enterprise, watching women dance, and he says, hey, I've got an idea. Let's call our friends at the Joyce Foundation. Wait a minute, who are his friends at the Joyce Foundation? The Joyce Foundation? Oh yeah, I remember. They're the people through Barack Obama and Valerie Jarrett's. They give the money to originally start the climate exchange in Chicago. So he has the same idea. Let's get some more money. And we'll call, hello, Joyce Foundation. Speaking of call me if any of this is wrong. If I get any of it wrong. I mean, we're just doing our best here. We're alone on this story. So we're just doing our best here. If you can clear up anything that White House has the number, they can. Well, I'm sure they'll be sending messages. So, here is the Joyce Foundation. He says, let's go to the Joyce Foundation. Okay, let's get money. Who's again the Joyce Foundation? started the climate exchange, seed money. They also give money to the Tides Foundation. Remember those guys? They're great. Oh, that's George Soros. And they give money to the Center for American Progress. You know where Van Jones is now staying? Isn't that great? That's George Soros too. That is great. Hundreds of millions of dollars, and apparently nothing better to do with it than to ship it to progressive groups. That's great. And wait until you see them take their top off. So, Franklin Raines asks Enterprise to ask the Joyce Foundation for some cash. What was the pitch? I mean, I'm just guessing, but hey guys, we got an idea. We want to start another progressive group. Well, before you know it, they have hundreds of millions of dollars being stuffed dollar by dollar into their G-strings. Joyce agrees, and the Emerald Cities Collaborative is born through the Livable Cities Initiative. Oh, Livable Cities Initiative. This is going to get good, isn't it? Here's the great part. Emerald Cities. Who are Emerald Cities? Show me the board of directors. Now, they consider themselves a startup, a national coalition of diverse groups that include, wait for it, unions, labor groups, community organizations, social justice activists, socially responsible businesses, and elected officials. Oh, it's great. It's like an episode of Growing Up Gaudy. This is fantastic, isn't it? Their mission? To be united around the goal of rapidly greening our nation's central cities and their surrounding metropolitan regions. They're practically Mother Teresa at a strip club. It's fantastic. Now, I know this is complicated, but that's how progressives like it. Because then the media doesn't bother to investigate because they're like, nobody's smart enough to be able to follow it. But with Obama's help, the Joyce Foundation has given $1.1 million to help start the Chicago Climate Exchange. Al Gore, Goldman Sachs, and Fannie and Freddie invest heavily. Fannie Mae buys a patent for something to do nothing with housing. It's great. No one says a word. Joyce then gives Enterprise cash to start this group. Who's on the board of directors? Jerry Hudson. He's great. He's great. He's great. He's from SEIU. Emerald Cities, man. You remember watching that movie with the Emerald City and you thought flying monkeys would stand out in the Emerald City. Yeah. There's no talking lions or flying monkeys or Tin Man. Nope. But all those guys are going to seem sane after I introduce you to Jerry Hudson. Yeah, he's part of the horses of a different color. Yeah. See if any of these guys sound familiar. We have Jerry. We have Phaedra Ellis Lampkins. She is for Green for All. Who's Green for All? Van Jones. Then we have Jack Hyen. Love him. AFL-CIO. Art Lujan. AFL-CIO. Wait a minute. Isn't the AFL-CIO? Who's the president? What's his name? Tiffany, what's his name? Richard Trumka. Didn't I just see him give a speech just recently that say he's going to pull out all the stops to stop me? Richard, I'm beginning to see why. Yes, I am. And then there's Doris Koo. Doris Koo's not up here, but she's part of Enterprise Community Partners. Again, I'd like to remind everybody in the viewing audience, I'm not suicidal. I don't think I can fly off tops of buildings. I don't want to swim in the East River. Something happens. So, what do we have here? We have SEIU. We have Van Jones. We have the AFL-CIO. We have Acorn. We have Goldman Sachs. Wow! I am glad we're having hearings on Capitol Hill this week on Goldman Sachs and not talking about any of this, huh? This is so weird. It's almost like it's all the same progressive people that are corrupt and we keep seeing every day in the news, making nightmares. Isn't that weird? But the Emerald Cities implies that there must be a wizard. Grab your basket. Come on, Toto. We're off to see the wizard. So here we are with Emerald City. We've got SEIU. We've got the great Van Jones again, Green for All. We have the AFL-CIO. All three of these people, all three of these groups, are currently leading boycotts against